Hey, what's up? I'm Liz, this is Blitzday DIY, and my journey to 3D print all of the Game of Thrones house sigils continues with House Baratheon. Now, I won't bore you with the lore of Game of Thrones, instead I'll bore you with the lore of how I got this to print and designed it and everything. First, I browsed Thingiverse for a deer model, and I was pleasantly surprised to find this lovely low poly deer model by the fantastic maker duo Evan and Katelyn. And that really saved a lot of work on this model in general because I could really just kind of drop on the shield and we're basically good to go. Then I download the shield model by John2K on Thingiverse, from which I'm remixing all of these shields to be more three-dimensional. Feels weird saying it's a 3D shield when it's 3D printing. 3D printing implies that it's a 3D model, so John2K hasn't done a Baratheon shield, so I actually had to get the House Baratheon's words onto the shield. So I brought the shield into Fusion 360 and used the text sketch tool to get the words all set. The font I use is actually a special Game of Thrones font that I downloaded, installed onto my system. I'll link that down in the description. As you can see, it's very Game of Thronesy. After I got the text centered how I wanted to, I extruded it a bit so that it would print raised, and then exported just the text as its own STL file so that I could bring it into Meshmixer. Along with the text, I brought in the shield model, the border that goes around the shield, all by John2K, and then got everything centered how I wanted it. Then I brought in the low poly deer model by Evan and Katelyn. Had to shrink it down a bit so it'd be proportional to the shield, and then worked on getting it placed properly. Once I had the deer placed, I actually ended up thickening the, I believe it was the Y-axis on the deer so that the head and neck would appear just a little bit more muscular and also just more Baratheon-esque. And after that, it was basically done. It was really easy. So I exported the model into Slick 3R to slice it and get it ready to print. And then off to the printer it went. The shield is printed in MatterHacker's Build Series PLA in gold, and then this model benefits from a filament swap so that the border, text, and of course the deer can print in a different color. This is specifically in Monoprice Black PLA. And now let's take in that sweet, sweet time lapse. Total print time was about 12 hours. Of course, the model did need supports for these majestic antlers and lovely ears, but they weren't too bad to remove, unlike the Targaryen dragons. However, would it be a print without a slight issue? When I was removing the supports, I actually had this tiny little piece of delicate antler snap off. Wasn't a big deal though, because it was a clean break and a little dab of E6000 glue saved the day. As you can see, you wouldn't have probably even known if I hadn't told you. You gotta love E6000 glue, it really heals all wounds. And as you saw at the beginning of the video, here's a finished print. Design and remixing process for this model was super simple, mainly because of the low poly deer model by Evan and Katelyn. So Evan and Katelyn, thank you for sharing that model. Now, I'm not really big on the color gold in general, but I have to say I really love how the MatterHacker's Build PLA prints in gold. It just prints really nicely. I think it looks really sharp with the black. It's a color combination I wouldn't normally use, and I think it looks really nice. So I'll be adding the sigil to my wall with my now growing collection of other Game of Thrones houses. So far, they haven't intimidated any of my house guests to the point that they leave, but I haven't given up hope yet. I'll have the link for this model on Thingiverse down in the description, as well as the links for the original models that I remixed from. But that's gonna do it for this video. If you liked it, toss me a thumbs up, leave any questions or comments down below. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing for more content like this. More sigils are coming, as well as winter. And until next time, this has been Blitzday DIY.